Are we good to go?
Others, please start. Okay, we are on YouTube live.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I am Adarsh Panigrahi. I'm actually a member of the Student Placement Council, and I welcome you all to this IIC Industry Interaction led and in coordination with SPC is session with IMS. Today we have our speaker, Mr. Chandra Geet. He is the chief consultant at IMS. Now, Mr. Chandragit is an education enthusiast. He has handled a team of consultants and partnered with clients for expanding business with positive outcomes. He has actually personally assisted over 3,000 plus students in making the best decisions for the international education journey. So with such a vast experience, I will ask Mr. Chandragit to share his experience and insights.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Chandrageet Lalwani, and today with this webinar, we are going to talk about the options, the management options that you can pursue post your graduation. We are going to discuss on the Deferred MBA programs and the MIM programs as per the topic. So thank you for the warm welcome, and we'll start with our presentation. Allow me a moment. I'm going to present my screen and we will begin. Is my screen visible to all?
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Okay, perfect. So today's topic is basically the top deferred MBA and the MIM programs. We are going to understand the top 10 programs today with this session. First, let us understand the agenda for this webinar. So we are going to understand about deferred MBA and the MIM programs. What are the advantages of these programs? What sort of outcomes that you can get? What are the application process and the timeline? So before I start, I just want to know, like we have few students who have joined up today. So I just wanted to understand, you are from which year? How many of you are from final year, or how many of you are in the pre-final year? Can you guys please type it in the chat box? How many of you are in your final year? So I can know the audience today. Pre-final, final, all right. Okay. All right, so we have a mixed crowd today, I feel. Okay, so I'm going to start and discuss that what sort of options that you can get post your graduation. Okay, so you have three options with you. First is that you can get work experience, probably start working once you get a campus placement, or eitherwise. Second option is probably you can pursue your master's program in India. Third option is that you can pursue your master's in abroad. Okay, so these are the three options that you have. Now, let us understand, if you have to pursue the global careers in management post your graduation, then what sort of options do you have? Okay. So as you can see this tab, this is a range of work experience. So we start from college till you have 0 years of experience, 2 years of experience, and 10 years of experience, right? So let us understand, when you are in your college till your 2 years of experience, what sort of program that you can apply for. First program that you can apply for is a Masters in Management program, which in India is called as PGDM or the PGP program. The second option that you have is a deferred MBA program. So deferred MBA, when you are in your final year of your graduation, you can make your application. The third program is a master's program. Now it can be a technical master's, it can be a business master's. For instance, it can be master's in finance, master's in marketing, master's in supply chain management, if you're looking for a business master's program. And if you're looking for a tech-based program, then it can be master's in computer science, master's in mechanical, or the XYZ, right? If you have more than 2 years of experience, you can aim for an MBA program, because pursuing an MBA abroad, you would need minimum 2 years of experience. So these are the different programs that you can aim post your graduation. And based on your work experience, these will be the available options to you. Now, let us first understand the Masters in Management program. Have you guys heard about what is an MIM program? May I see any response on the chat box? If you have heard about a MIM program, any one of you? Okay. Okay. So some of you have, some of you haven't. Okay, great. Now, MIM program is basically, the full form is Masters in Management. It's Europe-centric, and every year there are some of the top schools who are coming up with their MIM program. So for an example, last year, Chicago Booth, which is one of the top ranked university for their MBA program, has launched their MIM program. Also, Tepper Business School, which is Carnegie Mellon University in the US, have also launched their MIM program. So MIM program is usually 11 to 24 months, depending on the country and the university. The countries offering an MIM program, you have UK, Europe, US, and India. So I'm going to also talk about in India what sort of MIM options you have. So what sort of tests are accepted? You basically need to write your GMAT or a GRE. And the sort of salary post completion of your program is in a range of $72,000 to $105,000. Basically, MIM, you depending on the program, you study the nuances of management. You have multiple options to choose, between your specializations, your electives, and once we talk about the major career outcome post completion of an MIM program, you can get into consulting, you can get into finance, marketing, entrepreneurship, IT, analytics. So these are some of the potential career post an MIM program. When we talk about what sort of jobs you get in there, so you get an entry to mid-level job, because this program is meant for young graduates, right, who have just completed their graduation and probably have 0 to 2 years of experience, right? Now, when we talk about the companies which have a hiring trend, when we talk about consulting, you have the MBBs, which is McKinsey, Bain, and BCG. You will find you will find a lot of universities, where these companies have a hiring trend. In finance, you have Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, etc. Right? So you get to work with Fortune 500 company, probably in their head offices, right? So MIM are specifically the career boosters for the students, right? Now, what are the top 10 programs for Masters in Management? You have University of St. Gallen, HEC Paris, London Business School, London Business School, ESSEC, ESCP, Imperial, EdHec. These are some of the top universities for an MIM program. I'm going to talk about the Financial Times rankings, right? So let us see different schools based on different rankings. So if you can see in the bottom, I have also listed the Indian schools. You will find I am Ahmedabad, I am Calcutta, I am Lucknow. So this is just to give you a comparison that so as I mentioned in the beginning, the PGDA or the PGB program in India basically are an MIM program. a lot of students have a confusion that once they finish their undergrad, they are probably doing an MBA in IMABC, but it's a myth. It's not an MBA program. It's a Masters in Management program. Okay. Now, coming back to the MIM programs, you have HEC, University of St. Gallen, LBS, EACP. So these are all one of the top schools based on FT rankings. You have other schools as well who have recently launched, as I mentioned. So INSEAD, again, which is one of the best school in Europe, have launched their MIM program back in 2019. And you don't see them in the ranking because it takes 5 years minimum to be in the rankings, right? So there are other schools as well, which are one of the reputed school for the management program, like Chicago Booth, Carnegie Mellon, Duke, right?
Sorry to interrupt, Mr.
Yeah.
Mandage. Are you still on your first slide or have you switched to other slides?
Oh, okay. So you guys can't see my screen?
We can see, but it's stuck on the first slide.
Okay, just allow me a second. I think there is a technical glitch. Just allow me a second. Okay. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I just moved to, okay, so you were not able to see all of it. All right. So I'll just quickly give you an understanding. So this is from college to 2 years, right? This is what we were discussing so far. What are options that you have, correct? Now, moving back to the MIM programs. So I was discussing about these FT rankings, right? So you have these colleges, and then the bottom you have IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Calcutta, IIM Lucknow, which are ranked, after 48th rank. So let's say in India, if you're planning for these PGDM program, which are the MIM programs, right? If you're planning for those, then you should also consider even better programs or equivalent programs that you have abroad. Okay. Probably HEC Paris might have a higher acceptance rate than IIM Ahmedabad, and even it is ranked globally, at rank first. And if you compare that by IIM Ahmedabad, it's around 48. Okay. So these are the top programs based on the FT rankings. Okay. Now I'm going to discuss on two MIM programs today, which is London Business School and INSEAD. Okay. So LBS is developed in partnership with top global recruiters. Basically, in this particular program, students with 0 to 2 years of experience applied is ranked fourth in the world according to FT ranking. 96% of the students get an employment post completion of the program within 3 months, right? If I talk about the cohort, the average class size is around 298 students. The course is from 12 to 16 months. The tuition fees is around 39,000 pounds. Average age is somewhere around 22 years, and the application fees is 135. Now, when we talk about the program, so this programs gives you an opportunity where you can have a theoretical and the practical learning. You have an option, they have an option to choose London Lab. Basically, it's an 8-week workshop where you can work on a project and have a practical exposure while doing your program itself. They also have something called gifts, which is global immersion field trips. So you can choose places where you can go and work on different projects, right? So the sort of exposure that you get is drastic. As I mentioned, the sort of average salaries are in the range of $72,000 to $105,000. I'll also talk about INSEAD MIM program, which was launched back in 2019. Now, INSEAD is INSEAD is a top-ranked business school. It has an amazing alum network. Probably, they have a network of 60,000 or 62,000 students, which is spread across 176 countries. When we talk about the sort of international exposure that the student get in here is truly drastic, because 98% of the students are international. So they belong from different background. INSEAD values diversity and they pick students from different nationalities. Okay. These are few of the factors when we talk about the INSEAD program. Now, application or the cohort, right? When we talk about INSEAD MIM programs, the average class size is comparatively smaller than the MIM program. So you have around 177 students with, as I mentioned, 0 to 2 years of experience. And the average tuition fees is around 49,500, and the work experience range is 0 to 2 years for the INSEAD program. Now we are going to talk about the Deferred MBA program. Before I start with Deferred, I just want to quickly show, these top 10 MIM programs, which I think I was not able to showcase before. So if you guys want, you can take a quick screenshot of this. Okay. So these were the top 10 programs. Now moving back to Deferred MBA. So what exactly is a Deferred MBA program, right? So Deferred MBA is an advanced admission to MBA program. Now Deferred MBA are offered by some of the premium universities, okay? And if when you apply, let's say for an example, if you are completing your graduation next year, which is 2025, then you make your application when you are in your final year of your undergrad degree. You apply, you gain an early admission, you work for minimum 2 years, and then you join the MBA program. So as mentioned in this example, let's say if you finished in 2025, you work for 2 years and join the MBA program in 2027, correct? So this is how Deferred MBA works. Now, what are the basics of Deferred MBA? So this is offered by top US universities. The course duration is for 24 months, and the average salary that the student gets is from $110,000 to $175,000 post completion of their program. Now, what are the top Deferred MBA programs that you have? You have Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, Kellogg, Darden, you have Columbia. ISB had a YLP program, but currently it's discontinued. If you have heard about YLP, there was only one Deferred MBA program in India, which is being discontinued now. So you can just avoid that. Now, what are the pros of applying for a Deferred MBA, and what exactly is what advantage that you guys have, right? So for an example, the first advantage that you have is you have an early entry into MBA, because let's say if we talk about these top schools, the average work experience that the student has is close to 5 years, right? Average age of doing an MBA abroad is close to 27 to 28. Now you get an opportunity when you are in your, let's say, final year to secure an admit, right? And you can just complete 2 years and probably start your, MBA journey. So it gives you an advantage that you can start as early as possible and secure an admit in advance. You get an accelerated career launch, and you get a potential of receiving, let's say, top job opportunities in your mid-20s post your MBA. Third, let's say if you have, let's say, Harvard admit for a 2+2 program, which is their Deferred MBA program, right? So once you finish your, let's say, undergrad, and you have to work for 2 years, correct? So probably, let's say you can apply for the top companies in India, get an amazing, salary right now if you have that offer letter in hand. To give you an example, I had one student who got a acceptance from MIT Sloan Deferred MBA program, he wrote out to the alum network, because you get in access to the alum network as well for that school. So whatever alum you have, you connect with them in India, tell them that you have received, a deferred MBA admit, and you're looking for an opportunity. So let's say if IIT Madras have an average salary package of 22 lakhs, like if for just give you a figure, probably once you have that offer in hand, you can easily reach to a 50 or 60 lakh package right now without even doing any MBA program, right? Then you have an option to extend your MBA from 2 to 5 years. Let's say you have to work for minimum 2 years, right? Now, even you can extend that till 5 year work, have an amazing career progression, and then see whether you want to do an MBA or not, right? So it gives you an extra advantage to get even higher packages if you have just an admit in hand. Okay. So that's the best advantage that you guys can have. The next is recruitment advantage for B schools securing exceptional candidates early. Cons, basically, there are no specific drawbacks of this particular program. So I would definitely encourage all the students today to look forward to applying to the deferred MBA program, right? Now, as a student join the MBA cohort, right, after, let's say, having 2 years of experience. So these top schools have a total intake of 7,000 students. Let's say Columbia Business School have a class size of 847 students, right, for their MBA cohort. So, yeah. Okay. So approximately 10% of the students are for their deferred MBA program. So there are only 700 seats is what you can assume for a deferred MBA program, right? Combining all the schools. So it's very aspirational when we talk about getting into deferred MBAs, right? So you can assume we just have 700 seats available, combining all these schools. Okay. Now, when we talk about the specific specializations, or let's say for which school is known for what, then Berkeley has a specializations in technology, entrepreneurship. Chicago Booth is known for its finance specializations. Columbia again for finance, Darden for general management and the CSR. You have Emory for their marketing and general management program. Kellogg again is known for marketing. MIT Sloan has technology, information system, entrepreneurship. Stanford is known for entrepreneurship, general management. Wharton again for finance, and Yale for nonprofit and CSR ethics and economics, right? So these are few of the specialization. If you're keen into that, you can choose your schools accordingly based on the specialization that you would want to learn, right? These are the elite MBA employers. These people have a hiring trend. These companies have a hiring trend from one of the top MBA programs. So this is just to showcase you one of the top employers. Now, if I have to talk about, I'm going to take two deferred MBA program as well. That what are the two best program that you can look forward to? So you have Harvard Business School. We'll talk about that. Now, to get into Harvard Business School, let us understand their class profile. So 118 seats were there last year. Okay. Female percentage was around 43. The application received was somewhere around 1568 for the deferred MBA program. International students were close to 25%. So when we say you have 118 seats and you have 25%, which means close to 27, 28 students from international have got probably an admit there. So when we talk about 28 students in, let's say, spread across 50 different countries, so sort of, it's very challenging when we talk about getting into deferred MBA program. So we can assume, let's say, to maintain that diversity in Harvard, you will get 2 deferred MBA students from India or 3, right? Not more than that. When we talk about what sort of application that they have, so let's say the GMAT score, the average score is somewhere around 685, right, which is 97 percentile, right, that the student has to get. When it comes to GRE, so you have to score a 163 on a verbal and 169 on quant, which is basically 90 percentile in your GRE. Average GPA of the student is somewhere around 3.79. This is out of 4, so don't get confused. And they also accept students with over 3 years of undergrad degree. The application fee is around $100 and tuition fees is around $150,000. So when you see your work experience 2 to 4 years, so don't get confused, which means that post their undergrad, some of the students have worked for 2 years, some of them have worked for 3 years, and some of them also have worked for 4 years and then join the deferred MBA. Because deferred MBA give you an option to extend your intake, right? So let's say 2 years is minimum, but you can extend up to 5 years also, right? Now let's talk about Wharton, right? So 2023 class profile where you had 118 enrolled students, 22 country represented, out of which 27 international students, right? Which means again 27, 28 students, out of which 53 were females and 35 were US students, 19% was first generation. So again, if you will calculate, if you specifically look for the Indian percentage, it will be 2 to 3 students or 4 students at max for their deferred MBA program. Right. Now, these are few of our students who have got into the deferred MBA programs, right? So this is just to showcase that what sort of profile that they have had from which institute. Yeah. Right. So basically, students have got an admit from, let's say if I talk about Amaya, he scored a 760. He was from IIT Bombay, scored a 9.19. This was the CGPA that he had. So why I'm showing you this is basically to understand that when we talk about deferred MBA, your CGPAs are very important. So try to score as much as possible. Even your test scores are very much important because you don't have work experience at this point of time, right? So they are going to, consider your academic background and they would want to know your academic preparedness now, so that you can pursue your MBA later, right? So you have to make sure that you're academically very strong, have a good CGPA as well as a good score. So this is just to showcase you the sort of profile that we have had. And I would like to also show you, you can see a 315 score on a GRE, right? Where a student have got an admitted to Wharton future access MBA program. So obviously your profile also matters a lot, right? So you have to work on a holistic profile to be able to apply for an deferred MBA program and to be able to get an, deferred MBA admit, yeah. Right. So these are the few things that you should focus on. Okay. The first thing is that I would recommend to all of you with this session is to score high. Try to get to a 98 percentile on your GMAT or GRE, which would help you position your profile in an appropriate way. Have a competitive GPA, 3.5 out of 4 and 9 on 10 is what you should be. This should be the minimum GPA that you should be looking forward to. Legacy can help, so can alum. So if you have to leverage on your personal and professional network for this. Networking is very, very crucial when it comes to applying to overseas program because having an understanding on different areas is very much required. So make sure you are making good network from now. Try to attend webinars that these college do. Try to get in touch with the students who are pursuing this deferred MBA program or probably have secure and deferred MBA admit. That would help you a lot. Fourth is you have to write inspiring and engaging essays because your essays and SOPs carries a lot of weightage when we talk about the deferred MBA application. So dull essays with generic information won't be useful, right? So it has to be perfect. Show how you can shake up things, which means these top schools want to see your leadership work that you have had, the sort of impact that you have created as an individual, right? So you have to, let's say the students who are in the first year should start focusing on how exactly they can build up their profile, what activities that they should get involved in, which would help them create stories in their application essays. Okay. Let's talk about the application process and the requirements. Okay. So what sort of components, what do we need when it comes to the application? So we would need GMAT GRE score. We would need a language proficiency test score as well. So you would need minimum 3 to 4 months of preparation, right, for your test. You need to work on your essays, which you would require minimum 2 months to make it an appropriate one. So these are not one-day writing. You would need minimum 2 months to brainstorm, to understand the key stories that you have in your profile, which you can use in your application, right? Because this is something which makes you different from the other applicant. Everyone will have their GMAT score, everyone will have their, undergrad scores, but essays are something which are going to be unique as you are, right? So you have to showcase your strengths through your application essays. Resume, you have to prepare a one-page resume and submit it to the university. You probably need 15 days to a month. You would require 2 letters of recommendation to complete your application process, which would again need 2 to 3 months because you have to finalize the best person, let them know what's the format of the letter of recommendation. Transcripts that you need to arrange from your university, from IIT Madras, basically. You would require transcripts, which might take a month's time, an application form in few days. So this much time you need to work on your applications. Okay. Now, what helps to make it click, right? So as I was talking about the holistic profile. So this is basically your holistic profile, which carries your test scores, your SOPs, your profile, your internships, your extracurriculars, and your academics. So your SOP and your profile, SOP is basically your essays and your profile carries the maximum weightage, which is of 40%, right? Your extracurricular involvement carries a weightage of 10%. Your GMAT or a GRE score would carry a weightage of 20%. Your academics 20% and your internships 10%. So which means that your academic side is having a total weightage inclusive of your GMAT or GRE is 40%, and rest 60% is basically your profile and the application document that you're going to submit to the university, right? So make sure that you are working on everything simultaneously and giving importance to each and every aspect of your application. Now, what is the route for a deferred MBA or an MIM? So you can probably write a GMAT or a GRE. That's first thing that you need to work on. Secondly, we are going to understand the timelines for MIM as well as deferred MBA. So guys, this is very crucial. I would want everyone to pay attention. So basically, this is an ideal timeline for all of you. Let's say you are planning for an MIM for a fall 2025 intake, which means that the students who are graduating next year want to start their MIM next year, which is in September 2025. So for those students, from March to July, you should be done with your research on the schools that you want to apply. You should appear for your GMAT language test. You should be done with your shortlisting, and you should be also done with your documentation by July. August to October, basically you have a round 1 application in October. Okay, so you submit your application in the month of October. So this is the time where you should be working on your documents and filling up the form. because if you are looking for getting scholarships, then make sure that you're applying for a round one application for an MIM program. November is the time when you appear for your interviews. December, you get your decisions from the university, you apply for scholarship, and you start preparing for your financial document. May 2025, you will apply for your visa. August 2025, you will prepare for your departure. And September 2025, you will start your program. Okay. So this is how the journey works. And this is the timeline that you guys should be following. Now, deferred MBA has a different timeline. Okay. So deferred MBA is basically a third round of an MBA program. So most of the deadlines are in the month of April, right? So again, let's say if you are in your final year and you want to apply for deferred MBA, then your deadline is going to be April 2025, which means from July to December, you should be done with these part, which is your GMAT, TOEFL, shortlisting of the schools, starting on your documentation. Jan to April, you should be done with your finalizing documents, and in April, you submit your application. In May, you appear for interviews, and in June, you get your results for your deferred MBA application. And when it comes to applying for visa, that you need to gain minimum 2 years of experience, and then you can plan and start your program in 2027 if you want to start in 27, right? So as you gain 24 months, you can start your program, but you feel that you want to extend, you will have an option of that extension. So I hope this timeline is clear to everyone. Perfect. Now, one more thing that I would like to say, the students who are in their first or the second year, they can, probably prepare their GMAT in advance, because the score for GMAT and DRE are valid for 5 years. So you can keep one thing ready and, probably focus on the other aspects of your application. This is the deadline for last year, right? So as you can see, most of the schools have their deadlines in the month of April, right? Some of them have a deadline in January, and only Yale School of Management, which is the Silver Scholar Program, has the timeline in September. So why it's in September and why other are in April? So I'll give you a reason. Because as other MBA, you have to work for 2 years and then join the program. Yale doesn't work in this way. You have to join immediately once you complete your undergrad and you start with your deferred MBA program in Yale. So unlike others, you start directly, and with others, you wait for 2 years and then join the program. So that was the difference. So guys, we are going to start with our Q&A session now. I have kept 15 minutes for it, so I can, help you guys with your queries, right? And if you guys want to have one-on-one session with us, you can probably scan this QR code and we would be happy to help you. So yes, we can start our Q&A sessions. You guys can leave your questions in the chat box or the Q&A box, and I would take them one by one. Okay, so we have a first question with us. Does Canadian University have deferred MBA program? No, they don't have. There are only US universities basically which offers you a deferred MBA program. Any more questions? I would like all of you to if you have any doubts, any queries, just feel free to ask questions. Or you can unmute your mic and probably speak. That's completely fine.
So if nobody's asking, I can just ask question.
Yeah, please.
What are like financial aids given to students in these programs too? If you could elaborate that.
Okay, so when it comes to scholarships, right? So let's say they have merit-based scholarship, which is basically based on your profile, right? So once you submit an application to the university, So based on your profile, they give you scholarships based on your holistic profile and the application. Secondly, you have an option to apply for external scholarships as well, right? So these are the two ways where you can fund your studies. And then you have other options, which is you can take up a loan, right? As and probably other financial institution. So with a combination of these, you can probably apply for your finances. And when it comes to scholarships, so we have had our students which probably get a scholarship on 10 to 80%, we have had such student as well. So I have one question also in the chat box. Is it possible to get fully funded deferred MBA program? Yes, it is possible. So let's say we have had a student, Aryan, he got into Stanford and he applied for the Dubai Ambani scholarship and his program was fully funded. So Stanford, there is an option that you can do that. Secondly, what also can be done is, let's say, when you apply for let's say, when you get an admit from a deferred MBA program and you are working in, let's say, top companies to gain that 2 years of experience, even your employer helps you to probably fund your studies, right? Because they would know you're going to be a part of, one of the top university. So everything works on networking and everyone is aware of it. So even your company can help you fund your studies, right? So that can be also one of the additional option, apart from your scholarship, merit base and the external scholarships. I hope this answers the question. Any other question that you have?
Yeah, so a follow-up question regarding the same, asked by Priyanka Mazumdar. Is it suitable to go for an MBA when you are working at a company, like company sponsored, or is it better to take a break from your job and then go for the MBA?
Okay, so first of all, to do an MBA program abroad, you would need minimum 2 to 3 years of experience, correct? To probably apply. So I would suggest that first you gain that experience, right? Because even in that 2 to 3 years, you need to showcase a lot of things. Because as I mentioned in the beginning, the average work experience is 5 years, right? Average age is 27 to 28. When you talk about, let's say, the M7 schools, which offers a deferred MBA program, and you would want to get in there, then definitely you need to have an impressive profile as well as amazing experiences. You should have your leadership experiences. You should also have showcase certain impact, right? If you're planning for those. What I suggest is the route of a deferred MBA program is the best way because you get an option to first of all earn more even while you go to the university, right? And as you guys know from IIT, right? So most of the students in deferred MBA are from IITs, NITs, and others, right? So for you guys, I would definitely recommend to aim for the deferred MBA programs. And when it comes to getting a funding from your employer, so it depends on various things. You cannot just rely on that, right? So probably you can first way is to apply for a deferred MBA program directly. And then probably, let's say if you not applying or not getting an admit now, then probably work 3 years minimum and then you apply for an MBA program is what I would recommend.
Okay, regarding the deferred MBA program, a student is asking, namely Yash, sir, are there any ways as to how we can make up for our low CGPA around 7.5 to 8.5 CGPA to get an deferred MBA in
Okay,
Ivy League
correct.
program?
So when it comes to your undergrad GPA, right, this is one aspect of your application. Okay. Let's say if you have in a range of 7.5 to 8.5 and you are studying in IIT, right, you can always compensate this with working on your GMAT or a GI, right? So try to compensate there and probably have a 97, 98 percentile. That would compensate your GPA, right? And GPA is not only factor for you to get into the deferred MBA programs. It's about your profile, it's about your key stories that you have that you're going to present in your application essays, right? So you need to work on those parameters also, right? So as I mentioned, what carries, typically what sort of percentage. So you should be focused on each and every aspect. So don't worry with this CGPA also, it is possible based as you are from IIT, right? So that is a possibility, but having said that, try to work on your scores and get a 98 percentile on your GMAT is what I would recommend.
Yeah, regarding the preparation, Anshuman Verma is asking which source, like regarding coaching, would you suggest for best preparation? Like,
So we at IMS we help students with GMAT, GRE preparation, as well as we do have our admission consulting services with us. So every year we help more than 3,500 students for their GMAT and GRE preparation. We have close to 1,000 students every year whom we help them with their studies abroad with their consulting services. So you can definitely, scan this QR codes and probably attend one of the demo sessions if you want. And, then you can probably decide. So yeah, we definitely help you with your preparation as well as the admission consulting process.
another question I would like to ask, how would you like motivate students to go for MBA or like pursue MBA after like coming from a tech specific background, like in a from our degree?
Okay. So I think the biggest motivator is money for everyone, right? Is what I feel. सब लोग बोलते हैं कि ठीक है मुझको ये करना है वो करना है. End goal is to probably earn a lot of money is what everyone thinks, right? So what I recommend to the student is, when it comes to MBA programs, they definitely help you to, let's say, secure your future in an appropriate way, right? When it comes to students with a tech background, right? If you want to get into a position of, let's say, CEO and others, obviously an MBA helps you, right? That is one part. Secondly, if you will see the trend of global CEOs in India or anywhere, right, you would find that, they have studied abroad and they have also, let's say they have studied in India as well as abroad to get to that particular level, okay? And when it comes to third thing, the main aspect why we recommend students to study abroad, that when it comes to networking, right, everything works through networking at the end of the day, right? So the sort of network that you get with these top schools is drastic, right? So these are the three specific reasons that I would recommend students to pursue, an MBA program in India or in abroad. Yeah, that you guys can decide. But yes, I would definitely recommend you guys to work on these aspects.
Okay, so any more questions? Would anybody like to unmute and ask or put the question in chat box?
So there is one question that I would like to answer. Is Deferred MBA program course a research-based program? Okay. So Deferred MBA is basically an MBA program. Deferred MBA is a route for you to get into an MBA program. So it's exactly same as the MBA one, right? Basically, it's an MBA program. So you don't have to get confused with the name, right? So you would have case study methods in the curriculum. You will have practical learning throughout the way, right? So this is how it works in an MBA program, and deferred MBA is just a rule. So yeah, I think this was the last question that I would like to cover in it. Any other last questions that you guys would want to have? Please go ahead. Yeah. Perfect. So if you guys don't have any other questions, then I think we can wrap up the session. And
Okay, so
yeah.
yeah, thank you, Mr. Chandragit, for this very insightful and informative session. I think this actually would help me and others are more motivated about the MBA and their higher studies. And I think your session was very helpful and will be and I think we can keep this interaction further. Your LinkedIn was provided in the email, so please try to reach him out. And you have also provided your QR code. I would also like to thank Industry Interaction Cell, IIC, and SPC for coordinating this session. And finally, for participants, I would like to thank you all for attending this and asking your doubts here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys, and I hope this session is useful to all. Best of luck to everyone, and reach out to us if you would like to have a one-on-one evaluation. We would be happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you.